Welcome to another bit of yoga with me, Emily. I hope you're all feeling well. The sun is out, and that can help a lot with our sort of mental stuff that's going on, especially in BC when we get so much rain and clouds. It's so nice to have the sun out. I've got a new little gadget today, and hopefully this will help make the sound a little bit easier for you to hear without having to turn your devices up super loud. So, my plan for today is to work into dancer's pose. It's one of my favorite poses. And when I first started doing yoga, I was told that you're never supposed to do the thing that you love the most in yoga. And I call bullshit on that because I can see how maybe you're supposed to maintain some balance, right? And do some things that you're not maybe totally in love with, like at the gym. Like maybe you don't love burpees, but they're still good for you. And same thing with yoga, I guess. However, being told to never do something that you love sucks. So, dancer's pose today. And the idea behind dancer's pose is the myth of Shiva dancing upon the burning remains of the universe as it crumbles at the end of a war or at the end of the era. So that's kind of poignant for what we're going through right now as well. So I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to play with. It's great for getting into the quads and the hip flexors, but it's also really good for getting into the chest, opening through the shoulders, and really fantastic for stabilizing on whichever leg you're balancing on. So it's kind of got everything going for it. Hopefully that sounds good. As always, 2 blocks if you have them, or tins, or a chip foam block, or towels, anything that you can use that will help make the practice a little bit easier for you. Okay, let's find a tall seat, cross-legged or on your shins. Legs can be outstretched. I like sitting up on a block. And take a couple deep breaths. Inhale through your nose. And exhale, let it go. Couple more, just like that. And continue breathing however you need to, in and out through your nose or your mouth. Particularly allergy season time, you might feel a bit stuffed up, and that's fine. Notice the length of the spine. So with every inhale, imagine your spine lengthening from your sit bones all the way up to the crown of your head. And with each exhale, a little softening of the front body. Right, so you're not gripping to stay upright. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale to soften. Last couple breaths here. You can keep your eyes closed if you like. Slowly start to interlace your hands behind your back. Your elbows can be bent or straight, whatever works best for you, or palms touching. You wrap the shoulder blades toward each other, really opening through the chest. It's a beautiful place to stay, pressing your thumbs into the low back or the sacrum to lift through the heart. Some of you might start to slide the knuckles down a little bit to open a little bit more, or maybe even draw your hands back and away from your spine to get a little bit more opening. And exhale, let go. And then inhale the arms overhead. Same thing, interlace the hands, but press the palms up and away. Sometimes this can get a little bit compressed through the shoulders, so keep the little bend in the elbows if that feels good, and just kind of move through the spine here, side to side, a couple circles, just warming up that movement. And exhale, release, shake it out. Make your way to all fours, hands and knees. So, as always, cat and cow, also one of my favorites, but super beneficial thing to do. So, we do it. Knees underneath hips, toes tucked or untucked, hands outer, shoulder width apart or wider, and then inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through the collarbones. And then exhale, round through the spine. Really press it up to the sky. So a few more of these cat and cow undulations on your own time, on your own breath. And then even here, maybe you slept weird on the back and it would feel really good to get into some other movements. So go where you need to go. Right? It might look nothing at all like cat and cow. You could twist, you could de-weight hands, just go where it feels good. And if it doesn't feel good, don't do it. Right? Particularly if you feel pain, anything sharp, stabbing, or hot, back out immediately. Okay, and then come back to center, hands and knees. A little draw of belly button to spine. And then have your blocks or your cans or whatever you're using close by, as well as your chip foam block. And right away we're going to step or sweep the right leg forward. So you might bring the chip foam block underneath the left knee and then come up to half kneeling. Back out of the hips a little bit, hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, shoulder blades on the back, and then start to shift forward into those hips. And gently rest the palms on the front thigh. Back toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels better for today. The more you squeeze your bum, the more you're going to get into those hip flexors on the front leg. And you can feel that, right? Let go and then squeeze, and you can tell the difference. A few breaths here. On your next inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Flip the palms to the sky. Grab hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Lift taller. Exhale over to the right. Finding more length now on that left side. Inhale back and release. Shift the hips back, extending through the front leg for half splits. Hands could be on hips or on blocks or on the floor, as deep or as gentle as you need to go. Right? And then wrap the left hip forward. Draw your right hip back. Little draw of belly button to spine. And then go ahead and point and flex those front toes. Rock on the heel, side to side. Massaging out that plantar fascia. Probably spending a lot less time in shoes these days, and that can make the soles of the feet quite tight if you're not used to it. A little draw of belly button to spine, and then that micro bend in the front knee. Keep pulling that front heel back toward you slightly. So really getting into the hamstrings, the calves, the more that you peel those front toes back toward you. Last couple breaths here. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. Good. Slowly come back into the front knee. Okay, I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what we're doing. Walk your fingertips or your blocks forward, and on your inhale, lift the back leg high into standing splits. So we have a tendency to really open the hips up here. Try to wrap that outer left hip down as you spiral the inner left thigh up toward the sky. So really working towards squaring the hips. Flare the toes on that lifted foot, reach the heel further back. And it doesn't matter how high or how low that leg is. Now this is a beautiful place to stay. Hands on blocks, or maybe on the floor, or you can work the balance, one or both hands behind the supporting calf or ankle. If you would like a little bit more fire, on your next exhale, curl into a little ball, bending both knees, bring your nose toward your knees. Inhale, lift back up, and exhale, curl. Couple more like that. If you want even more challenge, you might de-weight your hands. Ooh, it gets wobbly, particularly because we're not quite warmed up yet. One more breath here. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release, standing forward fold. Little wiggle, little sway, little bounce, whatever you need. Fingertips to shins. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it go. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale up to the sky. And exhale, forward fold. Fingertips to shins or blocks. Inhale, lift up, partway. Exhale, fold. And then on your inhale, plant your hands. Step back to plank. So either low plank or high plank. Right? Top of a push-up, either from your knees or from your toes. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine. And you don't want to be collapsing here. Right? If anything, I would prefer to see a little bit more rounding. So you're really working to press the floor away from you. And then exhale, come down to hands and knees. Little wiggle, little shake, whatever you need to do to release. Okay, if you're using a chip foam block, bring it underneath your right knee. And then inhale, step the left leg forward. Back out of the hips a little bit. Hug the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum, belly button to spine, and then shift into the front knee. So now we're getting into the hip flexors on the right side. Squeeze the bum a little bit more on that right side. And gently rest the palms on the front thigh, right? Without doing this. And ground the front heel a little bit more. Just notice what does the activation of the glutes on the front side. Inhale the arms overhead. Flip the palms skyward. Grab hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Lift tall. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back to center and exhale, release. Shift your hips back. Extend through the front leg, half splits. Again, hands can be wherever works for you. I know some of you are going to be right down here and maybe even sliding out into a deeper variation of splits if you feel warm enough for it. Really wrap the right hip forward. Draw the left hip back, belly button to spine. Flare the toes, point and flex. Oh, that feels good. Rock side to side on the heel. And then try to find a place where you're getting quite a bit of sensation. Flare the toes. Remember, if your knees naturally hyperextend, you can think of pressing the big toe mound forward, and that will make sure that you don't hyperextend at the knee. Last couple breaths here. Good. And then slowly inhale, ripple forward again, back into the front knee. Walk your fingertips or your blocks forward. I just don't want to hit my bookshelf. Inhale, lift the back leg high, standing split. So again, try not to open the hips up, right? It feels good, but it's kind of a different thing here. Wrap the outer right hip to the floor, spiral the inner right thigh up to the sky, belly button to spine. Really fantastic place to stay in the stretch or the balance. Hands can be wherever. Or if you'd like more fire, exhale, curl into a little ball. Inhale, lift back up. And exhale, curl. And if you're not bending, that supporting knee as you round, you're missing out on a lot of fun in your glutes tomorrow. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release, forward fold. Little wiggle, little sway. Let's spend a little bit more time here than we did on the first side. You clasp opposite elbows with hands. Some of you might like to interlace your hands behind the neck or the head to add more traction. Some of you might want to rest your elbows on your knees or thighs. Few breaths. And then fingertips to shins or blocks. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it go. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. And exhale, hands to prayer. Good. Pause here. Eyes could be open or closed. You might bring your hands by your side. Few breaths, feel whatever you feel, notice whatever you notice. Probably your heart rate is elevated, mine is. Your breathing might be more intense. Maybe it's not, right? Whatever you need, however you feel. Okay, gently flick your eyelids open. Shake it out a little bit. Cool. All right. Bring your feet about hip width apart. And on your inhale, sit into chair pose. Hips back, belly button to spine. And you want your feet, or your hips rather, your weight so far back that when you look down, you can see your toes and maybe even de-weight them, right? Bring your arms to cactus. Inhale here. And exhale, round through the spine. Give an imaginary friend a big bear hug. Inhale, lift back up. And exhale, round. And you might start to go side to side here too. Getting into the side body, the lateral flexion and extension. You could do circles, or maybe do this quite a bit in my classes, but just sort of feeling how the spine, the torso feels today. Last breath here. And then inhale all the way up to the sky. Exhale, hands to prayer. Shake it out a little bit. And then come to the top edge of your mat. Feet hip width apart-ish. Little draw of belly button to spine. Send all your weight to your right leg. Pick up the left knee. Little buoyancy on that supporting leg. Right? So if the knee is not bent, it's harder for all of the glutes to activate. Right? So you get a little bit more stabilization this way. Bring your arms to cactus. Okay, I'm going to turn sideways. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly reach back toward warrior three. Keep the knees bent. Inhale back up. And exhale, reach back. One more time. Inhale up. Exhale, reach back. Pause. And then picture your warrior one. So step back with the back foot on an angle, whole foot flat. And you might need to adjust the feet so that they stay hip width apart. Bend into that front knee. And then start to wrap the outer left hip forward, outer right hip back. So some of you might be practicing on a tightrope, and if that feels okay for you, heel to heel alignment, then go for it. For me, it feels way better to keep the feet hip width apart. Keep wrapping the back hip forward, front hip back, belly button to spine, and then supercharge the back leg towards straight. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. Inhale the arms up, and then into cactus. Okay, couple of breaths here. Sink into the front knee. And then spin your palms sideways. Start to press into imaginary walls on either side of you. And then wrap the hands, the elbows back behind you. So there's a hard squeeze on the shoulder blades. And then maybe there's so much of a squeeze on the shoulder blades that it lifts the heart up just a little bit. Couple breaths here. Good. Release the arms and gently step to the top edge of your mat. Shake it out a little bit. All right, so we're getting the stabilizers going, getting the opening through the chest. We'll switch the opposite side. Weight comes to the left foot. Pick up the right knee, belly button to spine. Inhale here, right? A little bit of buoyancy. Karate Kid, and exhale, reach back. Inhale, back up. And exhale, reach back. One more time, inhale up. Exhale, reach back. Pause, again, picturing warrior one. And then step into your warrior one position. Right, so feet hip width apart. Bend into that front knee. You can even start with the hips open. And then you can really feel that wrapping of the back hip forward, the front hip back as you sink into the front knee. And then supercharge the back leg towards straight. Squeeze the bum, squeeze the top of the thigh. One thing I forgot to mention on the first side is you can even try to pick up the big toe on the back foot so you're not rolling into the arch of the foot. It is really active. Bring the arms up to cactus. Little draw of belly button to spine. Spin the palms to those imaginary walls. Press into them. And then wrap everything back. Palms, elbows back. Hard squeeze on the shoulder blades like you've got a pencil. And then inhale, lift. And then I have a tendency to just inhale and try to hold my breath, but I have to talk through it. So keep breathing. Last breath. Good, release the arms and gently step forward. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna move into dancer's pose now, but we'll take it in steps so that you'll have lots of opportunity to play with the balance, but also the stretch. Because sometimes in class, if you go into dancer's pose, you only get one shot, and you might need the quad stretch, but you really want to do the open thing, so you'll have a chance to do both. Send all the way to your left leg again. Pick up the right knee, but then kick your heel to your bum. You can grab the outside of the foot or the inside of the foot. When you grab the inside of the foot, it's really hard for that shoulder to dip forward. So if you're prone to pinching through the shoulders, that's a really good place to be. Belly button to spine, you can always find a wall. Hug the legs toward each other, squeeze the bum, send the kneecap down as much as you can. There's still buoyancy on that supporting leg, and then hug the heel into the bum as much as you can. So this is a beautiful place to stay. Right? You might counterbalance with the opposite hand. Good. And then option to tip forward slightly, this time keeping the hips square though. So really opening through the chest, a little buoyancy on that supporting leg. You can try a couple pulses. And then exhale, release. Shake it out a little bit. And we'll move to the opposite side. So weight to the right foot. Find that little bit of ease. Kick your left heel to your bum. Again, you might grab the outside or inside of the foot. A little draw of belly button to spine. And then open through your chest. Hug the legs toward each other. Kneecap goes down on that support, on that bent knee. And then hug the heel into your bum. Squeeze your bum. And if you're getting a lot of sensation through your quads, this might be where you want to stay. You can counterbalance with that right hand. Or maybe you start to tip forward slightly, keeping the pelvis square to start. Last breath here. Okay, and release. Shake it out a little bit. Okay, let's go back to the left side. Find that buoyancy. Kick the heel to the bum. And you might stay with hand on the outside. You might switch hand to the inside. It all depends, personal preference. If you haven't tried hand on the inside, then try that. A little draw of belly button to spine. Counterbalance. So option one, here, quad stretch. Option two, start to tilt forward a little bit, keeping the pelvis square. Option three is you start to kick that lifted foot into the hand, opening through the chest, opening through the hips, and then lift up wherever you need to go. A few more breaths. That's not a very good side for me, so I'm just going to let you do it. Right, if you fall out, you can come back into it. A couple more breaths here. And then release. Shake it out. Let's switch to the opposite side. Last set. Buoyancy on that supporting leg. Belly button to spine. Kick your heel to the bum. Option one, quad stretch. Option two, keeping the hips square. Or option three, start to kick the foot back and up. Lifting through the heart. Squeeze the bum so you're not dumping into the lower back. You want to maintain the integrity there. Last few breaths on this opposite side. Lift, lift, lifting. And if you fall out, it doesn't matter. It's just yoga. Likely no one is watching you, so it really doesn't matter. Last breath. And release. Shake it out a little bit. Come back to standing. Couple breaths. Just feel what you feel. Notice what you notice. Gently flicker your eyelids open. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. And exhale, release, forward fold, little wiggle, little bounce. Fingertips to shins, inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, let it go. Okay. And then slowly come down to kneeling and then to seated. Sweep the legs forward. Shake them out a little bit. Fix your clothes. I mean, everyone does it. It's not a big deal. Windshield wiper the knees. And then come to a nice tall seated position. You might be seated up on a chip foam block, but probably not, right? Because we won't be here for long. Take your right ankle and cross it over top of the left thigh. So this is option one, really active through this top ankle. If you would like a little bit more, and I'm probably guessing most of you will, lift through the spine, start to lean back a little bit, bend the bottom knee, and then you might interlace your hands behind the thigh. This is a really good place to use a strap if you prefer. And then maybe you start to draw the bottom knee closer toward you, and you'll feel that in the glutes on the right side. Right? A few breaths here. If you would like an even deeper variation, then you might fold the bottom shin underneath, stack the top shin over top for fire logs. You can always prop if there's space, right? You can press the hand and the knee, or hand into the foot and the knee. Maybe you lean forward. Again, wherever you need to go. Last few breaths on this first side. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And slowly unwind. Shake it out a little bit. And then we'll switch to the opposite side. So sitting up tall, cross the left ankle over top of the right thigh. Again, really active through this ankle. It's because you don't want to unintentionally sickle the joint by pulling pressure on it while it's lax. Again, this is a beautiful place to stay. Maybe you lean back a little bit. Maybe you start to draw the bottom thigh toward you. I am very tight on this side. And you might notice that maybe one side is different to the other or tighter. But this is the side that I was injured on, and I couldn't really do this for a couple months. Again, maybe you might fold the bottom shin underneath, coming into fire logs. Again, you can prop however you need to. You might stay up tall, or you might round forward. A few more breaths. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And gently release the bind, sort of reversing. Unhitch the legs, shake it out a little bit. A little windshield wiper of the knees. And then come back to a seated position, nice and tall. A little lift of the neck, whatever you need to do till you find a comfortable spot. Palms might face up or down. Wrap the shoulder blades toward each other. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. 2 more. Last breath. You're welcome to stay here, or you might lie down on your back for your rest. Again, I always recommend about 5 minutes minimum in Shavasana to let your system reset. Also just because it's nice. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy dancing on the burning remains of the universe. Namaste.